Hi there, welcome to the Whizzkids HTML online class. Today we're going to cover some really important basic concepts. So if you don't understand something, be sure to pause, rewind, and rewatch those parts you found difficult. As you can see, we're going to cover three key concepts today. First, what is HTML and how to write it. Next, we'll look at an example of a very basic web page, and finally, how to organize your code. So let's get started. HTML is a programming language used to create web pages. It stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It's pretty easy to learn and is actually really fun when you know it. We use something called a tag when we write HTML code. Usually, but not always, these tags will appear in pairs. You can see that around the tag we must place a parenthesis or brackets, and in the closing tag we must add a forward slash. These are all really important, and the code won't work unless the spelling and punctuation of all your code is correct. Here we have two tags for a heading. We call these an opening tag and a closing tag. In between these tags we can now place the text we want to appear as a heading. If we look at the final web page that the user can see, you can see that the HTML tags have disappeared and the heading text is now larger and in bold. In other words, it looks like a heading. So if we look at our basic web page, we start off by telling the computer which version of HTML we are using with doctype HTML. Don't forget the exclamation mark at the start. It's important when writing code that all our spelling, punctuation, and capitals are the same, so make sure to be careful when you write your code. We then write our opening and closing tags of the HTML tags. We always write our closing tag immediately after we write our opening tag, so we're less likely to forget. If we forget the closing tag, our code may not work the way we want it to. We can give ourselves extra space by using the arrow keys and then pressing enter to move the closing tag down a couple of lines. There are two main sections to our web page, the head and the body. The body is where we write the code we want to appear on our final website, and the head is where all the instructions to the computer about how the website will look or behave goes. This code in the head does not actually appear on the web page. Next, inside the head tag, we're going to place our title tags. As the title is contained in the head section of the code, it does not appear on the actual website, but you will be able to see it in the internet browser tabs at the top of the screen. A good title is important, as this is one of the main factors search engines will use when searching for pages like yours. My title here is My First Web Page. Inside the body tag, I'm going to place my first heading tag, H1, and I'll write the heading My New Page. We can see what it looks like on the actual website to the right of the screen. Next, I'll write a second heading containing the words My Second Heading. As you can see, the result on the screen is that H1 is the largest text, H2 is smaller, H3 is smaller again, and so on until H6. Which is the smallest heading type we can use. Next, I'll place what's called a marquee, which, as you can see, is a moving bar of text running right to left on the screen. And finally, we'll use the paragraph tag P. Inside this, I can place a paragraph of text as shown. So that just gives you a rundown of some example code we can use to write a very basic web page containing text. Next, I want to talk about the incredibly important topic about how to organize your code. It's really important that we keep our code neat and clean. We do this by adding lots of white space to our code to make it easier to read. On the left, you can see that the programmer hasn't given any space at all, and it's incredibly difficult to see what's happening. On the right, by using the Tab key, which is in the top left-hand corner of your keyboard, it says Tab. We can add space at the start of a new line. The code is much clearer to read as a result, but we don't just randomly add space to every line. Each time we add space or indent a line, it is telling us something about the code. From the box on the right, I can see that inside the HTML code there is the head and the body. Inside the body is a div. Contained inside the div is a heading, and the text is contained inside the heading. Every time we have text or tags enclosed by an opening and closing tag, we must indent our code one space using the tab key. This is really important as it makes finding your mistakes so much easier, and a large part of writing code is being able to find your mistakes that you will inevitably make.